If you're a business owner or someone that is required to go ahead and file the BOI report, you're in luck. In this video, I'm going to be breaking down the exact strategies that you need in order to be able to avoid filing the BOI report after spending thousands of dollars learning this new requirement so you don't have to. And yes, what I'm going to share with you in this video is absolutely legal and it's directly from FinCEN. So quick disclaimer, even though I'm a certified public accountant and a CPA, you definitely want to make sure you go ahead and talk to an attorney because it's more of a legal matter, and I recommend you go ahead and communicate with them first before you take any action on anything I share in this video. All right, so let's get into the overview so you can understand who's required to go ahead and file. And if you can understand who's required to file, then you can understand who is not required to file. So let's get straight into it, okay? If you are not compliant, meaning that if you're not filing this BOI report, you can literally pay $500 per day, up to $10,000 per business entity, and face jail time. And this is all due to the Corporate Transparency Act. And this is basically designed to go ahead and identify fraudulent people, scammers, all these different people, because a lot of people have been creating LLCs and these different business entities and these shell corporations and doing illegal activities. And because of that, they created the Corporate Transparency Act, which is operated by FinCEN. So FinCEN, which stands for the Financial Crimes Enforcement Network, they did this to be able to combat illegal activities through shell companies and to be able to enhance transparency. And a new BOI report requirement officially launched January 1st, 2024. So let's get into talk about who needs to file the report. And according to FinCEN, it's going to be reporting companies. So what exactly is a reporting company? So essentially what a reporting company is a U.S. corporation or an LLC, limited liability company, that's created in the United States. And as it relates to this requirements, if you happen to qualify and had any reporting companies prior to January 1st, 2024, you're required to report all of those legal entities in the past. And then if you are creating new legal entities as of January 1st, 2024, you're required to go ahead and begin reporting that and going ahead and filling out this BOI report. And just so you know, BOI stands for the Beneficial Ownership Information Reporting. So if you're someone who had these reporting entities prior to January 1st, 2024, so you have until December 31st, 2024 to go ahead and get all of this filed. If you're creating new entities, you must fill this out within 30 days of filing the entity paperwork. And like I said, if you don't, you can face up to $500 per day per entity, all the way up to $10,000 per entity, or you could face up to 2 years of jail time, which is insane. And I do want to mention this, they are allowing people who are creating new reporting companies to go ahead and get it filed within 90 days if it's 2024. But after 2024, that's when the 30 days are going to start kicking in place. And as part of these requirements, they're going to want you to give your real name, your real address, your real phone number. Like, they really just want to see the person behind the company and make sure that you're a real individual. So in the event that something happens, they're going to be able to identify you and just have that transparency. And the way to submit it, you can do it electronically at www.fincen.gov/BOI. All right, so let's go ahead and jump in and talk about exactly who does not need to file this BOI report. Okay, so I mentioned that if you have a reporting company, you're gonna have to go ahead and file this BOI report, but they do list out a list of 23 exemptions. Okay, they have 23 different scenarios of individuals or entities that do not necessarily have to go ahead and file this BOI report. I'm going to do my best to explain each of those to see if you qualify and fit into any of those categories. But again, you do want to work with an attorney to make sure that you are absolutely on point and making sure that everything is compliant. So let's get into the first one. The first one is going to be securities reporting issuer. So basically it's going to be any type of business that is providing securities such as Apple, such as Microsoft. So basically if you're on the stock market, then you would not necessarily fall under this requirement. Next is going to be governmental authority. So governmental authority, that's essentially going to be like the U.S. Department of Treasury, also the state government. They don't necessarily have to go ahead and comply and fill out this BOI report. Next, you have banks. So banks such as JP Morgan, Bank of America, Wells Fargo, they're going to be exempt from being able to file this report. Credit union. So if you're a credit union such as like a Navy Federal or your local credit union, then you're going to be exempt from going ahead and filing this BOI report. Number 5, they have what are called depository institutional holding companies. So that's going to be like a Bank of America corporation, which owns like several banks. They also have money service businesses such as like Western Union is going to be an example of that. You also have PayPal. Number 7, you're going to have broker or dealer. That's going to be a Merrill Lynch. It's going to be a Charles Schwab. It's going to be an example of those types of business entities. Number 8, you're going to have like securities exchange or clearing agency. And that's going to be like your New York Stock Exchange. That's going to be like your NASDAQ. Number 9, we have what are called other exchange register entities. That's going to be like some financial planning and investment firms that are basically registered under this act and basically need to be compliant under this act. We have investment companies and investment advisors such as Vanguard or Fidelity is going to be an example of those types of entities. You have venture capital fund advisors. So you want to look at the big venture capital companies. You got insurance companies that are going to be exempt from this, such as Allstate or State Farm. Number 13, you have what are called state licensed insurance producers. That's going to be like independent insurance advisors that's registered under the state. Number 14, you have what are called Commodity Exchange Act registered entity. So that's going to be like the Intercontinental Exchange. Number 15, you have accounting firms. So Deloitte & Touche, PwC, Ernst & Young, KPMG, those are going to be exempt. You have public utilities such as Pacific Gas and Verizon Communications. 17, you have what are called financial market utility. That's going to be like clearinghouse payment companies. Number 18, you have pooled investment vehicles. For instance, that's going to be like hedge funds or mutual funds managed by BlackRock. Number 19, you have tax-exempt entities. It's going to be like charities like Red Cross or educational institutions like Harvard University. You have entity assisting a tax-exempt entity. That's going to be any type of entity that's providing services to a tax-exempt entity. 21, you have large operating companies. That's going to be like multinational corporations such as GE, Toyota. Number 22, they have subsidiaries of certain exempt companies. So any companies that fall under the companies that I mentioned before, those are going to be exempt. And 23, inactive entities. So if the entity is dead, if it's deceased, if it's no longer in operation or about to not be in operation, that's going to be exempt as well. Okay, I just went ahead and shared some of the exempt entities. A lot of reasons why these are going to be exempt. Probably the reason why these are exempt is because they already have that information anyways. So what can you do as a business owner? What can you do as an individual who doesn't necessarily fall into any of these 23 categories? What are you able to do? How are you able to go ahead and avoid the BOI report? So probably one of the easiest ways to be able to avoid this BOI report legitimately is essentially just not having a LLC, okay? And while that might seem crazy to some people, an LLC does not necessarily make sense for every type of business owner. So if you're just starting off in business, maybe you're just operating your business outside of your home, it is low risk, it's not generating that much revenue, not much profit, then maybe not having an LLC on day one is absolutely required for you. So one of the ways you could protect yourself if you do not have an LLC is by getting business insurance, okay? And business insurance is going to be able to protect you against some of the risks that are associated with being a business owner. And then once your business continues to grow, once it continues to scale, then that's probably when you want to go ahead and consider getting an LLC if you're truly committed to going ahead and starting a business. Another thing for you to consider is going ahead and doing a DBA, which is doing business as. That's basically like an alias for your business, basically giving your business another name. So this is going to be good for you if you just have a sole proprietorship, if you're just starting off in business, or maybe a partnership as well, and you just want to make sure that your business has a name officially registered, but you don't necessarily want to be compliant with the BOI report. And if you have other LLCs from the past or corporations from the past, you just want to really assess and see if it even makes sense to continue operating those, so you don't necessarily have to keep up with all this reporting now that's required. I know there's a lot of people on the internet pushing for you to get a whole bunch of LLCs so you can get a whole bunch of business funding. So at the end of the day, you just want to assess whether it truly makes sense for you to get an LLC. A DBA could really great option for you. If you go ahead and do DBA, I still recommend going ahead and getting that EIN number as well, the employer identification number, which is going to be able to give your business like a social security number. And the great thing is you can get all this stuff done within less than a week and get your business up and running to where it's legit, even if you don't have an LLC in place. But ultimately, at the end of the day, I do want you to go ahead and upgrade to that LLC so you can have that legal protection and be able to get some other benefits that comes with the LLC. So if you're truly serious about having a business and you want to have that LLC to give you that legal protection along with all the other benefits, then I highly recommend you go ahead and check out this video here. I'll see you in the next one. Take care.